Did you know that some of the greatest legends to ever grace the beautiful game of soccer, players who mesmerized millions, shattered records, and became household names, never laid their hands on the ultimate prize? The FIFA World Cup trophy? Imagine being worshipped as a god on the field, yet walking away with that one gaping hole in your legacy. It's kind of like building the perfect sandwich, but forgetting the bread. And here's the kicker. These players didn't miss out because they lacked talent. Oh no. Fate, luck, and sheer heartbreak played their roles. Stay with me, because by the time we're done, you might just start wondering if the World Cup trophy itself is cursed for some of football's brightest stars. Let's dive in. First up, Johan Cruyff, the Dutch maestro who redefined how football was played. He was the face of total football, a tactical revolution that made the Netherlands the deadliest team of the 1970s. Cruyff danced across the pitch like a conductor leading a symphony. But in 1974, despite his genius, the Netherlands fell short in the final against West Germany. Cruyff's World Cup dreams? Gone. Just like that. You ever have that feeling where you're so close to success you can taste it, and then it slips through your fingers? Yeah, Cruyff knows that feeling. But if you think that's tragic, wait until you hear about a man who, despite scoring over 1,200 goals, never tasted World Cup glory. That man is Pelé's greatest rival for the title of football's GOAT, Alfredo Di Stefano. A magician on the field, Di Stefano led Real Madrid to 5 consecutive European Cup victories. Yet he never played a single World Cup match in his prime. Political issues kept his Argentina team out of the tournament, and when he finally got the chance with Spain, injury struck. Talk about the universe having a personal grudge, right? I mean, what's next? The universe telling Tom Brady he can't play football because Mercury is in retrograde? Then there's George Best, the rock star of soccer. If soccer had a James Bond, it would be him. Best had charm, skill, and a rebellious streak that made him unforgettable. But he played for Northern Ireland, a team that didn't have the firepower to qualify for the World Cup. Best himself admitted that despite being called the best player in the world, he'd never be remembered as the greatest without that elusive trophy. Life's funny like that. Sometimes it's not about how great you are, but where fate decides to place you. And speaking of fate's cruel decisions, let's talk about a Brazilian legend who, despite winning hearts, never won the title he deserved. Zico, also known as the White Pelé, dazzled in the 1982 World Cup. His Brazilian team was considered one of the greatest ever assembled. Yet they were knocked out by Italy in a match that felt like a Greek tragedy. Zico had everything: vision, skill, leadership, but the football gods had other plans. Then there's Michel Platini, the French playmaker with a golden touch. Platini led France to the semi-finals in 1982 and 1986. His passes were poetry in motion, and his vision was unmatched. But destiny? Well, destiny had other favorite, and that brings us to a man whose career was filled with jaw-dropping moments, but who walked away from the World Cup empty-handed. Roberto Baggio. Ah, the divine ponytail. You can't talk about Baggio without mentioning that infamous penalty miss in the 1994 final against Brazil. One kick, one moment, and a lifetime of heartbreak. Baggio's tears are etched into football history. Funny how the sport that gives us our greatest joy can also deliver the deepest sorrow. Ever think about how one mistake can haunt you forever? Yeah, Baggio knows all about that. Next, let's not forget Paolo Maldini, the defensive wall of Italy. Maldini played in 4 World Cups, reaching the final in 1994 and the semis in 1990. But the trophy? It eluded him. Maldini was the epitome of class and grace, proving that sometimes even perfection isn't enough. But let's shift gears. What if I told you there was a player so gifted, they called him the Black Panther? Eusebio, the pride of Portugal. His blistering pace and deadly finishing made him a nightmare for defenders. In 1966, he carried Portugal to 3rd place, winning the Golden Boot with 9 goals. But that's as close as he got. Eusebio's tears after their semi-final loss remain one of the most emotional moments in World Cup history. And then there's Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Love him or hate him, you can't ignore him. The Swedish giant has scored some of the most outrageous goals ever seen. But Sweden's inability to build a squad capable of World Cup success has kept him from the ultimate glory. Knowing Zlatan, though, he probably thinks the World Cup missed out on him, not the other way around. But before we wrap up, there's one more player, one whose story will leave you wondering about the thin line between greatness and heartbreak. Lionel Messi, yes, the man many consider the greatest of all time. For years, Messi carried the weight of Argentina's hopes on his shoulders. Final after final, defeat after defeat. Until, finally, redemption came in 2022. But for much of his career, Messi was the poster child for World Cup heartbreak. So, what does this all tell us? That greatness isn't just about trophies. It's about the journey, the battles fought, and the hearts won. These players may not have a World Cup medal, but their legacies? Untouchable. If this video made you think differently about the game, smash that like button, subscribe for more stories that go beyond the headlines, and drop a comment. Which player's story hit you the hardest? Let's keep the conversation going. Thanks for watching. And remember, greatness is about more than just silverware.